Hello, good morning, and welcome to Morning Brew on Hughes of the World. I'm the Hughes, this is the world. How you all doing this morning? Another day closer to the end of Rump. Yep, another day closer to his ignominious demise. I hope it's horrible. I hope it's painful. I hope it's humiliating. Trump's having his picture put in all American passports. So that's happening. Christ, here's me complaining about the British passport, losing all the lovely pictures inside that we had for a few years until the Tories came along and went, no, nothing can be nice. Not for the plebs. Nice things are ready for rich people. But now, I'm like, oh, mate, never been so happy I'm not American. Do you know what I mean? I woke up this morning, I sprung out of bed, I was like, yes! And Kat said, what are you so excited about, Graham? And I went, I'm not American! Yeah! Woo! Yeah! I go to Mauritania and Cuba and North Korea and lots of other places, Eritrea, that they don't like Americans going to. Libya, Sudan, Iran, Iraq. We don't want you to go onto these countries because we're the land of the free to go nowhere. Fuck you all. Anyway. Good morning to you, all you wonderful people in the chat. Who we got? We've got Lost Missionary, we've got Gallifrey and Wren, we've got Graham Haller, we have got Tim Bex in there, we got Diz. Hey Diz, how you doing? We have got Plum Duff, Pete Dencart, we've got Paul, we've got Miss LB, we've got Kate Nimbus, we've got Andrew Ray. We've got so many people in the chat this morning. This is kind of wonderful. Hello one, hello all. If you'd like to join our beautiful friends in the beautiful chat, all you need to do, hit the subscribe button and wait for 1 minute, and then you can actually write stuff that you sorry, my mouse isn't working. My substitute mouse is not working. It's going to be quite painful, I think, this morning. Let's see my subscribe button. No, my subscribe button's not working either. Oh well, just imagine there's a little pop-up that says subscribe at the bottom of the screen. This might get difficult if I try and do some confetti in a bit, but I will set the timer for 2 hours because you know I like to go on and see if we can get some confetti in the house. As I was talking about America, I was going to talk today. It is Wednesday, the 29th of April, 2026. We've got a big packed day of shows for you today on the Hughes the World channel, just like yesterday, but not quite as long. We have got at 10 o'clock, we've got Prime Minister's questions, so please join me for that. It should be a spicy one after yesterday's marathon. I want to say debate, but it wasn't even a debate. It was just saying the same things over and 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 over again. We got a bit tedious towards the end there, I've got to say. Got a bit tedious towards the beginning there as well. Anyway, so the government, obviously, 3-line whip, they weren't going to lose it. And they won by 112 votes. So, you know, that was a big nothing burger yesterday, wasn't it? It's the end of Starmer. And like I said, it wouldn't be, it wasn't. I mean, it might be after the local election defeat next week, but we'll see. But yeah, and then this evening at 6 o'clock, got something very exciting for you. The return of lovely Rachel Harris. Yes, we're going to jump down the rabbit hole together. First time in a couple of months. So really excited about that. Spoke to Rachel this morning. And yeah, we will be going talking about, I think it's a personality test or something that she's got cooked up. I don't know. I'm approaching it with trepidation. You might find out about things about me that you never wanted to know. So if that sounds like something that might float your goat, then seriously, come along for the show. So that'll be from 6 till 7 tonight. And Francis Winvote, thank you so much for the £5 super chat there. Can we just new American passport with Trump face like Andrex? Can we just get a new American passport with Trump face like Andrex? Yes. It sounds like a good idea. So we wipe our arse on that. I hate seeing his face. I don't know if you noticed, but like whenever I do a thumbnail, I either try and obscure his face somehow, put like butter over it, or just scribble it out if I haven't got time, or try and use like a cartoon or something, because I just think he looks so disgusting. He's just such a disgusting, vile human being. You know, Jabba the Hutt in the Star Wars movies, right? Is this vile gangster, right? And he's obviously this big sort of slug monster, but he's not as disgusting as Pizza the Hut from Spaceballs. If you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. That, honestly, just looking at Pizza the Hut from Spaceballs just makes me feel sick. Like, they're trying to get me to eat sprouts. Anyway, what's Kemi going to do today then? Great. Oh, sorry, Francis, thank you very much for the super chat. My super chat button's working, so if anyone wants to drop a super chat in, I can make an animation appear. Anything else might be a bit difficult. Even the confetti, I don't know. It might be all right. It might not be all right. Let me just see if I can do something where I go to properties. See, it's not even letting me click on stuff. I'm having to click like 3 times to click on anything. God, this must be what it's like to be old. Sorry. Look, I'm 47. I'm very middle-aged. But yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, I'm trying to click on the little eye logo, the little eye icon that makes me be able to see the confetti, but it's not letting me do it. Oh my God. So if we do get to the confetti situation, I don't know what I'm going to do. We might be screwed. Went to the papers a bit early there. Let's have a go. No, it's not working. So if I click on the little eye icon, that should make the confetti animation happen, right? Instead, it's giving me the option to change the name of the layer, which I don't want to do. Oh, and if I right click on it, it does exactly the same thing. I don't know. Maybe this is OBS just being weird. Maybe it needs an update. I don't know. But yeah, Andrew Ray, what's Kemi going to do today? She's going to say, why didn't you let yourself be asked questions by the privilege committee? And he'll stand up. He'll say, because I did nothing wrong. And she'll say, but why didn't you do it? And he said, because I did nothing wrong. And then she'll say, but why? And he goes, because I've done nothing wrong. And she goes, isn't it true that blah, 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 blah. And it's like really smug. And they'd be like, because I did nothing wrong. And then this will go on till the 6th question, which will end it, why don't you resign? Because that's what happens every week. Why don't you resign? 6th question. You know, he's sitting there. It's not like he doesn't know what she's going to ask. Because she always asks the same thing. Every single week, it's the same thing. Blah, 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 blah. Ask the same question 6 times and then end it with, why don't you resign? She's so crap at it. Even when she's offered an open goal. SG, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. So Americans have to show that every country they travel to, they have a convicted felon and paedophile for president. Great. Yeah. Yeah, this is what the Fash do. This is what Nigel Farage will do if you let him. He wants his face on every lamppost. He wants his disgusting gargoyle natterjack toad reflected in a doorknob fucking bollock face to be, you know, with his eyes like, his eyes like go out 2 different ways, like Marty Feldman. He's just horrible. He's just horrible. And he wants his face on all that. You know the Joker in Batman, the 1989 Batman, Tim Burton's Batman. Tim Burton. That's a lumberjack's favourite director, you know. Tim Burton. I can't even get the squeaky tank working this morning. You know you're in trouble when you can't even get the squeaky tank working. Anyway, you know the way that the Joker is portrayed in that, because he's gangster Joker. You know, there's gangster Joker, and then there's Heath Ledger's insane anarchist Joker, and then there's he's always insane anarchist Joker. So you've got gangster Joker, anarchist Joker, and then Joaquin Phoenix, sad Joker, who still lives with his mum. Hated that film. I hated that film so much. What have you done to Joker? What have you done? What have you done? Why are you doing this? Anyway, but Trump is very much gangster Joker. He's but like a stupid version of it. Like he's stupid gangster Joker. But he's got the makeup, hasn't he? He's got the makeup, definitely. He's got the deranged face. He's got the sixth twisted sense of humor, the sadism, the deformed model as a concubine. There's all this stuff there. Everyone around him, like they have the laughing gas stuff, and they get these Richter smiles. I mean, you look at the weirdness, the weird Mar-a-Lago faces all around him. He is just Jack Nicholson, gangster Joker. That's who he is. And what does gangster Joker say in the movie when Batman says, "What is it that you want?" And he says, "My face on the $1 bill." That's what Trump wants. Literally, he is having his face minted on coins in America to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America. He's having his face minted on coins in America, if you can believe that. But yes, he is, because he wants his face on every single lamppost, in every single barbershop, in every dangling from every taxi driver's rear view mirror, like what you have in countries like Syria when they had the Al-Assad dynasty was in charge. Those photos, pictures on every. You drove through Damascus and it was just picture after picture after picture on every single lamppost of El Presidente. And that's what you'll get if you have a Trump. You know, when you're running around in Wolfenstein, you're like, there's lots of pictures of Hitler around. Yeah, that's what they used to have. There's fucking loads of pictures of Hitler everywhere. So as many pictures, so you don't forget what he looks like, I guess. They all got burned. Yeah, I went to see that film without checking the reviews. I thought I was in the wrong show. Which film was that? Oh, the sad Joker film. Fuck, what was that? I've said this before and I'll say it again, right? If it had just been a standalone film, like a quasi-sweet sequel to King of Comedy with Robert De Niro in the Martin Scorsese film from the mid-80s, okay, fine. Fine. Martin Scorsese did The Colour of Money, which is a sequel to The Hustler. So yeah, you can do that. That's fine. But taking a character like the Joker and making him a sad, lonely, like he was an incel, wasn't he? A sad, lonely incel who still lived with his mum, and turning him into this character that everyone goes, oh my God, he's so amazing. Why is he amazing, everyone? Because we have no clue. Because of the wonderful things he does. Why is he so wonderful? Because he does wonderful things. What wonderful things does he do? The wonderful things. I fucking hate cults. I really fucking hate them. I hate any celebrity or politician who's put on a motherfucking pedestal, drives me up the wall. And the one thing that I genuinely like about Keir Starmer, and there's a lot to not like about Keir Starmer, don't get me wrong, is the fact that no fucker puts him on a pedestal. no one worships at the altar of Starmer. People might defend him because they defend Labour or say he's been handed a bit of a shit sandwich, which he has, by the Tories and world events. But at the same time, he's not very good at his job. But thank fuck he hasn't got an entourage, following going, oh my God, the Oracle speaks. Give us your wisdom, Keir. And he just mouths some platitudes, and they're like, oh my God, the platitudes! Oh! I had to deal with that with the Remain, the Remain movement, when it was the Remain movement, not the Rejoin movement, and it was painful. It was like you'd get people who were like, look at me. Look at me, Jeremy. Look at me. And you're like, he doesn't want to join us. He doesn't want to get on any stages or march with us against the Conservatives' flagship policy. The only policy that the Tories have is get Brexit done. So maybe let's protest against that policy. Like we all ganged up to protest against the poll tax. I mean, for fuck's sake, there were riots in Kent, against the poll tax. We all kind of got together on that one, left and right. And we could have had the same, not saying we should have had riots, but the same sort of left and right getting together. But unfortunately for us, the people who were supposed to support us back then, the opposition, her Majesty's opposition as it was back then in the old days, didn't give us fucking shit. Didn't give a shit. And yeah, people putting people on a pedestal They did it with Russell Brand 10 years ago when he had his fucking Bucky Wuck 2, whatever the fuck it was called, out, and he decided to be all political. And I was like, oh my God, look at him. He's just wonderful. He's just wonderful. Oh, he's the Messiah. And I'm like, no, he's not. He's a twat. Jimmy Savile. Anyway, Graham, who do you think wrote the King's speech? Ooh, I don't know. You got 2 question marks. It almost feels like you're going to tell me the answers to that. I don't know. We could look it up, couldn't we? The one with Colin Firth, or the speech he made yesterday in Congress. Yeah, I don't know. But it was a good speech. Skewered the President of the United States. Kept going on about the Magna Carta. I said, yeah. Do you remember the Magna Carta? Yeah, 1215, signed in Runnymede. Yeah, you know, like that had those checks and balances on executive power. Yeah. So if the king got a bit too big for his boots, they could, you know, like what happened to King Charles I. Yeah, that totally happened to Charles's namesake. He just got a bit big for his boots. So they did away with him. So it was a bit of a veiled threat, really, wasn't it? It was wonderful. Farage interview today talking about rounding people up, says Mr. Tisk. Fucking Farage. And fucking stupid fucking people who follow him around slavishly going, oh yeah, he just tells the truth. No, he doesn't. If he got into power, the economic devastation that would follow would be absolutely fucking monumental. It would make Trussonomics look halfway sensible. The economic shock that this country would take when he gives massive tax breaks to all the fucking billionaires and himself, obviously, and all his mates and his nepo baby crotch nugget fucking sex trophy little crotch spawn bastards. You know, his children. You know, don't bang his kids into it. Nah, they're cunt kids, mate. Oh, leave my cunt kids out of this. No, mate. No, sorry. They've got fucking European passports. They can fuck off. Little nepo baby bastards. But yes, maybe they are bastards. I don't know. Was he married? He was definitely having an affair at the time, probably, because he always is. Captain Barbosa wrote the King's speech, didn't he? Or was he just the elocution teacher? I don't know. Starmer seems like a decent bloke with Britain's interests at heart, in all honesty, which can't be said for most of our leaders. That is very true. And surprised Farage hasn't suggested that Trump replaces Churchill on the £5 note. Well, I mean, he's so enthralled to Trump. It's painful, but that's something that Labour should be. Well, all the political parties are against him should be really honing in on his closeness to Trump and what Trump is doing to America. But all these stupid old bastards, and sorry, my animations aren't working today, so I can't even put up not all boomers, but 2/3 of fucking boomers are going to vote for next week. The people who vote, I know it's not everyone who votes, but the people who vote, most of the boomers who vote next week are going to vote for refuck up and down the land. Up and down the land. They're going to vote for refuck. They're going to vote for the guy who's going to privatise the NHS. And these are people who've retired. Are you fucking mad? He wants to move to an insurance-based healthcare system. Are you fucking crazy? Are you working? No, you're fucking retired, aren't you? Yeah, good luck with that. Liam says, say what you want about the monarchy. All right, bunch of cunts. Oh, sorry, there's more. But I really like Charles. He's a soft king with the environment and humans at heart. Yesterday was one of those moments we should appreciate that part of. Do you know what, Liam? I agree. And I'm going to talk today about the special relationship and how it's a bit of a myth. But I do feel like Charles played an absolute blinder yesterday. And I do think that it showed up a few things, not least the fact that our system, although it's very imperfect, and I would not object necessarily to having an elected head of state, as long as it didn't come with any political power. So it was a ceremonial role where you went around the world making speeches, which is what a head of state should be doing. Whereas in America, the head of state is also the head of the government, which is fucking nuts. I mean, Charles can't make royal proclamations. Things have got to go through Parliament. And to a lot of people who are impatient for change, any change will do, they love that. They're like, oh my God, things change quickly because Trump makes a pronouncement, a proclamation, a papal bull. Or in Trump's case, papal bullshit. And things change. And it's like, great, but do they change for the better? that impatient, that petulant impatience of a 12-year-old child demanding that they get their PlayStation now and not wait till Christmas is very much, a lot of older people are a bit like that. Sorry, I'm not all of them, obviously. About 2/3 or 1/3 are all right. They're fine, not all boomers. But there are 2/3 of boomers who just, I think they left school at 12 and they just, that's it. That's all they need to know about anything ever. Don't need to learn anything new. Don't have to discover new worlds or find out new things or spend an afternoon on Wikipedia. I know everything. There's a lot of arrogance in that particular generation. Touched by fire. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat. In Wales, dreading the Senate elections next week, the number of people that want reform in Wales is terrifying. It is genuinely terrifying, my friend, because like it's an English nationalist party. It's like them voting for the SNP in Wales, except if the SNP were like mad evil, which they're not. What good is it going to do for Wales? Well, that'll show them. But they've made it all about immigrants. They've got their friends in the press to tell everyone that there's people coming across in boats and stealing all of our tattoos and wives and daughters and Persian rugs and concubines and PlayStations and pictures off the wall, and they're coming over and they're stealing our carpets and they're stealing our, and you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake. They're getting put in hotels. All right, well, we'll take them out of hotels. We'll put them in houses. They're staying in houses of multiple occupancy. I've got to stop this from happening. Okay. Have you seen who's moved in next door? Oh, it's people from some other country. And they're riding that wave. They really are riding that wave. Now, talking of riding the wave, Martin Harrow wants to test Graham's system. Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Now we're going to try and get the confetti to play. Let's go. Come on. We can do this. No, it's not liking it. It just wants me to change the name of the thing. Okay. I don't understand. The only thing I can think of maybe is like the shift key is jammed down on the keyboard or something. Maybe that's why. Maybe I have to take the battery out the keyboard because it uses the same. Maybe then. Oh yes, I did it! Stupid keyboard. Keep confetti. Yeah, probably. I probably spilt some coffee on the keyboard a long time ago, but I do need to keep that on. What does it do with the battery? Oh, there it is. I do need to have the keyboard on in case I need to Google something while I'm talking to you. In case I need to do something important while I'm talking to you. But let's get started. Another goal. Cool. Excellent. Thank you very much for the confetti. Hope you enjoyed that, Diz. Me swinging around my keyboard. Do you remember those the guitars in the 80s that were like a keyboard, like a musical keyboard, but it was a guitar? They were called a keytar, were they called a keytar? Am I making that up? Cool. Like those double guitars that Otto, the school bus driver from The Simpsons, when he was given a wish, he said, "You know those guitars that are like double guitars?" Graham is his own IT department. Well, I think the shift key is stuck down from it getting coffee spilt on it 6 months ago or something. I don't know. Gallifrey man, if they're opposed to HMOs, I suppose they oppose landlords turning Victorian terrace houses into house shares. Yeah, because I used to live in a HMO. It's just become a bête noire for no reason other than the newspapers have decided they need a new enemy. They need someone new to go after. They said, okay, well, the Labour government are getting rid of these hotels, so with asylum seekers, and so we need somewhere else to have a go. Oh, we'll have a go at houses of multiple occupancy. And I'm like, what? You mean like house shares that have been going on for? But people are all upset about it. They're all like going crazy, in the sort of they do what they're told to do. People want guidance. People crave direction in life because you grow up and they say go to school, and you finish school. You say, what do I do now? And they go, I'll go to university. So you go to university, into loads of debt. What do I do now? You go, get a job. Okay, what do I do now? You get a partner. Oh, what do I do now? You get a house, get a mortgage. What do we do now? You have some kids. Oh, okay, well, that's some kids. Get married, get divorced. And what do we do now? What do we do now? What do we do now? And people face, and I understand this entirely because I go on Netflix now and again. I just get choice paralysis. I'm just like, unless there's a particular thing that you're looking for, which is never there. I remember being in Blockbuster in the 90s with mates, going in. Do you want to get this? Oh, I've seen that. Do you want to get this? No, I've seen that. Oh, and just pick something up and I'll say, oh, no, I've seen that. Seen it. And they used to do a thing in Blockbuster where they'd have the videos out. So you'd be like, oh, I want to see this. And you pick it up. But unless there was like an empty box behind it, it wasn't really there. Yeah, that was a weird thing that Blockbuster used to. I understand why they did it, to save space and stuff. I once tripped over a baby in Blockbuster on Edge Lane. Yeah, that happened. It's a really traumatic memory of mine. I was just walking to the counter, and I was looking at, I was reading the back of I wasn't on my phone because we didn't have phones then. I was just reading the back of the cover of the video box. I was looking at the back of the video. I don't know, it was the blank one or whatever. I wasn't necessarily paying attention to see if a baby was literally crawling along, how quick kids can crawl across on the floor, and I just went, fucking what? Went arse over tit, and then this mother runs over, my baby, and I'm like, oh my god, that is so. Oh my god, yeah. So yeah, this is the sort of thing that should be on. If I ever go on, Would I Lie to You? I'd be like, I want shipped over a baby in Blockbuster video. It's like, what the fuck? Why would that ever happen? But yeah, I think the baby was all right. Might have grown up a bit wrong. Might have grown up into a refuck photo. I don't know. It was many moons ago. Liverpool have gone all out checking HMOs and enforcing the regs. Most students live in HMOs unless they stay at home or have rich parents. Yep. The refuck councillor in Wigan owns lots of HMOs. Well, I used to live in a HMO. I used to live in a big Victorian house on Moss Lane in Orwell Park in Liverpool. And there was an old lady who lived downstairs who moaned about the noise, and we lived on the first floor. And then there was a couple who lived in the attic, basically, the crazy couple in the attic. Nice to see Graham airing his Good Food Guide Award and his bronze swimming certificate on the sofa. Yes, the Good Food Guide Award. I don't even have a Good Food Guide Award, mate. This is just my bronze swimming certificate. Coming third in the butterfly. There was only 3 of us swimming. I was actually doing breaststroke. Lol, I remember the Edge Lane Blockbuster, literally a shed. Yeah, it was. It was a bit of a walk. The governments are in charge of stuff like that, not the monarchy. We had a civil war over the monarchy not being allowed to make decisions anymore, remember? Yes, I know. I know. But let's talk about the sad little myth of the special relationship. So I want to tell you a little anecdote. So a friend of mine who he used to be the Dean of Politics and Government in Durham University. Tom Brooks, his name is. He is now the Dean of Collingwood College, apparently, which is quite cool. Or he's in charge, whatever the word is for whatever the name. Chancellor, maybe? He's a Chancellor. And he's American. And we've done a bunch of shows together back. We haven't done one for a while. But he's very personable. He's good, knows a lot about politics and stuff. And even though he studied politics in America before coming to the UK, right? It wasn't until he came to the UK that he heard the term special relationship being used between the US and the UK. It had always, when he was growing up, it had always been used, or when he was studying politics, it had always been used to refer to the special relationship between the US and Canada. But here we are now because Christian Turner, our new ambassador to the US, said the quiet bit out loud and said that actually, the special relationship, it's a bit of a myth. This is a bedtime story that Britain has been comforting itself, that we're America's special friend. And this is Churchill and Roosevelt mythology, and this was created by Churchill to try and get Roosevelt to join the war, which he would not do. He put his heels in. He dug his heels in. And it wasn't until the bombing of Pearl Harbor that actually America came into the war. But in the run-up to that, America was supplying Britain with food and with resources that it needed via Canada. But Trump has really exposed what was always true. America does not have friends. It has clients, servants, countries it finds useful temporarily. And we like to think of ourselves like the wise old partner. But Washington has for a long time seen us as this sort of side character to its own narrative, like a nostalgic side character. You know, this folksy old bloke who turns up and, you know, just who usually dies at the end of the second act to, you know, come up, turn up and give a little bit of wisdom. Give a little bit of wisdom to the Yanks and say, oh, careful on there, boy, you know, don't be running full tilt ahead when you don't know what's around the corner. And you go, oh, that's wise. Yeah, I got that out of fortune cookie. But Trump has really, really exposed us to what it is. And I think that Charles's reception yesterday in the Senate, where the bipartisan support, people on their feet, standing ovation and all this kind of stuff, was because they are actually desperate for that now. They haven't been. But the reality is, once Trump's gone, they're going to give a fuck about us once more, you know. And even Britain's own ambassador to the US has said the obvious, which is if America does have a special relationship, it's not with Britain, it's probably with Israel. And you know, the truth is considered rude, so you probably shouldn't say that. But he admitted that this phrase, a special relationship, which is trotted out time and time again, much more by British politicians than Americans, is nonsense. It's nostalgic, backwards looking, loaded with baggage, and also it's toxic as well. And it's one of those things where you talk to a Brexiter, right? And they'll go, oh, it's great that we're going to leave the EU because then we're going to be able to trade with the rest of the world. And as I often fucking crack on about this because it gets me so annoyed as someone who evidently, with me 2 Guinness World Records over there, went to every country in the fucking world, right? Not saying that means I know everything, but it just means I know a little bit more than someone who's never left their mum's spare room, all right? A little bit more, you know, experience of actually seeing these places. I mean, you could have read a lot of books, I suppose, but, you know, the experience of seeing these places firsthand. Most countries in the world, the majority of countries in the world are relatively poor. But because people could fall back on this sort of soft, fluffy, nostalgic thing in their imagination, that it's okay, we can cut the rope from Europe, you know? It's okay because America will be there to catch us in its loving hands and cushion the fall. America. You say, who do you want to trade with? America. Why was Mandelson put in place to get as ambassador? What was to get a trade deal? Who with? America. You'll save us. So pathetic. I fucking hate it. As craven it is. Instead of us standing on our own 2 feet as one of the 3 senior partners in the European Union, the most successful trading union, the most successful political union that the world has ever seen, we're like, no, we don't want that. We're going to throw ourselves at the mercy, you know, cut the rope, fall from the fucking cliffside, and America will catch us. They'll cushion our fall. They fucking didn't. You know. The Christian Turner said he avoids it because it's not he avoids the phrase special relationship because it's just not true. It's a phrase that mainly exists to make Britain's politicians feel important and to give a comfort blanket to the hard of thinking who don't know how the fucking world works. And I'm sorry that sounds really fucking patronizing, but I get a bit pissed off that I've got to try and, you know, get this false equivalence to anyone who's got an opinion about everything. You know, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's fucking got one, but you shouldn't necessarily get it out in public. You know, this is what would you call it? Diplomatic copium, I guess, that we say, oh, We've got this special relationship. And I'm sorry, but America subsidizes Israeli military. It subsidizes Israel politically, diplomatically, strategically. We begged for America's help in the Suez Crisis in 1956. Did Netanyahu have to beg for Trump to come and start bombing the shit out of Iran and cause this global financial meltdown and this oil crisis that we're now living through, this energy crisis we're living through? No, he just turned and said, "Hey, Trumpy, will you do this for me?" And Trumpy went, "Oh, again, Benny. Oh, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that." Fucking idiots. Paula Thomas, thank you very much. The special relationship is a myth. Dear UK politicians, please stop trying to con us that it's real. Yes. Yeah. Mr. Tisk, every day I'm reminded how shit Brexit is. It's fucking shit. And the people who told you to Brexit are living the high life. They have made a fuckload of money out of it, and they are not affected by it. They do not have to queue up in the fucking the airports coming in and out because of the new system. They've got fast track, or they arrive on private jets or on their fucking massive luxury fucking yachts. They do not have. There's someone. They've got people. They've got people to do their paperwork. These motherfuckers, and they can live and work anywhere they want in Europe. They never took that right away from themselves. They took it away from you, not themselves. Farage still has that right because he has the money. Just like if those motherfuckers ever get into power, they will take away the right of you to get healthcare. Oh, it'll be free at the point of delivery. Yeah, and then you saddle with a £50,000 bill after going in, to be treated for your miscarriage. Great. That's the future that Farage wants. That is the disgusting, toxic, horrific future that Farage wants. He wants to ban abortion. That's another thing that he's quietly get rid of it, make it so that abortion is illegal in this country. So, but once again, it won't be impossible for the rich. It will not be impossible. If you've got loads of money, yeah, go to France, get an abortion. Go to Ireland, get an abortion. Morning after pill. In America, they're not just trying to ban the morning after pill, which they call Plan B over there, in states, that they also want to ban contraception. And in some states in America, you can't get an abortion even if you've been made pregnant at the age of 12 by your dad. And if you can tell me anything more fucked up than that, forcing a 12-year-old to term because that's what Jesus wants in your mad interpretation of the Bible. the incredibly contradictory Bible, which every gospel in the Bible tells a slightly different story about the same event. It's kind of a bit weird, you'd at least think they'll get the stories to align before they publish them, but no, it's fine. We don't know what time of the day Jesus was crucified. I don't know what day. We don't know whether it was before Passover, was it on Passover, was it? I mean, for God's sake, we even get our dating system wrong because it turns out Jesus maybe he was born in 4 BC. So he was born 4 years before the birth of Christ. It's a bit of a fuck up, isn't it? But that's what happens when you try and your scientific method is adding up all the dates in the Bible. Forgive me for being a bit cynical about it. But yeah, there is a genuinely exceptional relationship between America and Israel. This is what Christian Turner said. We get warm words and a occasional photo op. Israel gets blank checks. It's a bit of a difference. The amount of money that America has spent on bombing Iran is astronomical. We are talking billions, tens of billions of dollars that they've spent. Yeah. Trump doesn't respect Britain. We know this. He does not admire Britain. He likes the theatre of monarchy. He likes the theatre of meeting the king. But even yesterday, he tried to give the king a really, really disrespectful handshake, which he does to everyone. He tries to jerk jerk his hand back like this to dislocate the arms of the person he's shaking the hands with. Thankfully, King Sausage Fingers has absolutely massive fingers. Why do you think, Camilla's so happy all the time? Anyway, so Trump likes uniforms, pageantry, gold curtains, gold trinkets on the fucking wall. But Trump and America do not respect Britain as a geopolitical equal, like we were treated when we were a member of the EU. He's called Starmer weak. He's mocked him as being no Churchill. He called Britain a once great ally. Once great. It's not the language of partnership or friendship or special relationship. That is the language of contempt. And this Trump drips with contempt at the best of times, and Trump sees Britain the way he sees everyone as a transactional. Well, what have you done for me lately? The answer is not much. He just moves on, doesn't he? To his next fucking shiny thing that he likes to follow around. This is mafia logic. This isn't diplomacy. This is the way gangsters operate, and he is, after all, a gangster. But he is turning America into Billy No Mates. Billy the Kid No Mates. Trumpism strips away the sentimental nonsense of what came before, I guess. America first means exactly that. Not America and certain friends. It's America first. And then, look at the way he's treated Canada, Europe, the NATO, Ukraine, Greenland. Look at the fucking trade wars he's started with everyone. America under Trump does not believe in alliances. It does not believe in diplomatic solutions to working together. It doesn't believe in cooperation. It's just America first. It's not enough for him to win, and this is the same with the fash all over the world. It's not enough for them to win. Everyone else has to lose. And every relationship with Trump is transactional. Every single one is transactional. Every friendship has a price tag. That's why Britain's clinging to this special relationship language. It currently, it looks pathetic if it comes up in Prime Minister's questions. Say, the special relationship. I'm just going to be sitting there going, oh, fuck off. In fact, I will say fuck off. And it's why you can't have a special relationship with someone who fundamentally thinks that relationships are for losers. Trump is like the bloke who, I don't know, fucking insults your clothes, takes the piss out of you in front of all your mates, shags your wife, and then asks why you're being so dramatic about it all. Do you know what I mean? Absolute fucking spiv, a cad, a cur, a brazen fucking hussy of a man. And America at the moment, it's got. I suppose you could argue that it has allies in that it's part of NATO, and obviously there's a lot of American military bases around the world, so Saudi Arabia is an ally, and you could argue that the UAE is an ally, and Britain's an ally, and France is. But the reality is they've got no mates. Essentially, they're the one person that you have to see every day in work, but everyone fucking hates them. Everyone, you've got to abide them because you work together, but fucking hell, those bootlickers in Congress yesterday, where they were all the Republicans applauding what Trump's done, but then they go on about being like this amazing independence from Britain, but then Charlie turns up and they're like, oh my God, someone who can actually make a speech, someone who can actually make some points. This is amazing. And finally, the Democrats get to their feet and like, this is wonderful. But it just shows how low the bar is, I think, because you think about how Trump's speeches are just rambling, incoherent nonsense, which have no structure or theme. He just comes out with insults. He just insults people. He just stands there for 10 hours just insulting people and going on about his fucking ballroom, It's just a horrific stream of consciousness bullshit that he likes to put out there. And this isn't stream of consciousness. I've got notes, you know what I mean? That's why I'm not always looking at the camera. I'm looking at me fucking notes because I want to keep this kind of structured. And I know that I go off on tangents, but it's a little bit different than when you're standing up in front of a bunch of people and making a speech. When Trump does it, it's only his bootlickers who are like, yay, it's amazing. But then I think they're probably not smart enough to even have these higher order fucking thoughts, but there must be some of them. There must be some of them who have little thing and like going, oh, this is different. when Charles was speaking in Congress yesterday. There was a little thing in the back of the head. Oh, wow, he's making a good speech. He's making, and I think why a lot of people voted for Trump is because they're dickheads and racist dickhead, inbred, racist, 77 million of them. But I think one of the reasons might have been their hatred of Obama. Why did they hate Obama? Because he was the perfect president, and they can't stand that. He was effortlessly cool. He spoke with authority. He didn't put a foot wrong. He didn't fuck a porn star up the arse while his wife was at home pregnant with his child, while his wife, who used to be a prostitute in Eastern Europe, who had been trafficked over to the UK, over to the US by Epstein, by the world's most notorious paedophile, possibly as a minor, I don't know. A woman who's just so miserable. I mean, it's just, how miserable Melania is objectively hilarious. She's just a poster child for miserable Russian prostitute. Yeah, I know she's not Russian, but she may as well be at this point. And yeah, just I don't know, the way that people fawn over Trump and the fact that he's seen as this, like, major fucking hero on the right, when he can't even fucking string a sentence together. I think people voted for him because he can't string a sentence together, because they wanted the absolute opposite of Obama, because Obama fucked them off so much, because they wanted to hate him for a particular thing, but they could never articulate what they hated about him unless they were going to be honest and say, well, it's because his dad wasn't white. His mum was, though. But yeah, hatred of Obama, people wanting the absolute opposite. So instead of having a competent president who is respected around the world, they wanted an incompetent, incoherent president who is universally hated all over the planet. He is the most hated human being who has ever existed in terms of the number of people who hate him. What, that one individual person, it's never been so high. And now he's putting this fucking stupid, ugly fucking gob on American passports. I'm actually going to start feeling sorry for the people checking your passports now, because every day they're going to come to work and they're going to have to flick through some Yank's fucking passport and it's going to have a picture of Trump in it. I mean, it probably wouldn't do any favors for our tourism industry, but I'd just say, right, I'm sorry, if you got one of those passports, you can't come in. Good luck, Andrew. Jeff True, it's interesting to see that Vance didn't applaud when others did. His hands were behind Charlie when speaking in Congress. Sorry, his are the hands behind Charlie when speaking to Congress. To keep costs down, the NHS could partner the vasectomy department with another thing, perhaps. No, they would have to pay for their own or face hard jail time. Spiv, that was a great game. Spiv. We should offer asylum to Americans that can read. Most Americans don't have a passport. That is very true. I feel like it is a little bit less of a necessity for Americans to have a passport, because to go anywhere that isn't America is a bit of a hike usually for a lot of them. But yeah, unless you live near the border in not New England, close to Canada, or you live down in Southern California, New Mexico or something, next to the Mexican border. But yeah, I can see why if you live in fucking somewhere in buttfuck nowhere in the middle of America, you live in the middle of Wyoming or something, the square state, it's just a square. I can see why you wouldn't have a passport. Like, I don't think a lot of British people would have passports. If you didn't need a passport to go to Spain, would a lot of British people have passports? Nah, they wouldn't. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £20 super chat. I was studying law as a mature student at the turn of the century. We had a debate on the EU. The majority of boomers were pro-EU. The ones that were anti were venomously were those who had just come from Graham's generation. The ones who were anti vehemently were those who had just come from Graham's generation. They just come from my generation. Well, thanks for the 20 quid super chat. But the statistics show that the vast majority of boomers voted for Brexit when given the opportunity to vote for Brexit. They voted for Brexit. And then they voted for the Tories in 2019. Who said, let's get Brexit done. And boomers, the majority of boomers who voted for that. I mean, the cutoff age is like 50, isn't it? Like you can chart it on a graph like the people who voted for Brexit, by age, and it starts off quite low for the young people who voted for it, and then as they get older, the percentage of people voting for it gets bigger and bigger. But yeah, thanks to the anecdotes. But yeah, the data shows that older people tend to be more conservative. Funnily enough, whereas I feel like I'm getting more bloody. I'm getting more fucking anarchist. Not anarchist. That's the wrong word. More radical. Sorry, I'm getting more radical as I get older. I'm like, fuck. But yeah, I could make a lot of money out of Flump, not by speculating on the markets. I'm talking about giving him an upside of the head, also known as a head wobble, and record it. Best message notification ever. Yeah. But yeah, I was studying politics at the turn of the century. My degree's from 2000. That's quite cool, isn't it, to have a degree from the year 2000? Just like busted. Oh no, they went the year 3000, didn't they? And they didn't get a degree. I have an issue or two with Obama, but bloody hell, that guy had charisma. Yeah. So they got someone who's got no charisma whatsoever. They got a guy who is just a wrestling commentator who likes to get in the ring for to be a part of the pantomime. A couple of months to go to get my first so-called blue passport. The shame of it. Yeah, the shite. I've got a few big regrets in my life. Big regrets, and one of them is not getting the last of the maroon passports, because that was a beautiful fucking passport. I had like a bird one. I had lots of bird one. I had the weather one that we had, or the ecosystem one that we had up until 2014, I think, and then the passport we had from about 2016 to 2019 was fucking magnificent. I've seen them; they're just beautiful works of art. Each page has got. This was by Delarue. Delarue, was it the company, the British company that made them back then, before we gave it to a French company to make and print them in Poland. The images on each page were just beautiful. And there was a page that had Liverpool Cathedral on it. It had Sir Giles Gilbert Scott, who's the designer of the Liverpool Cathedral, and also the red phone box. It also had the Angel of the North was on one of the pages, and another place. I think there was one that had like a reference to the Beatles on the page. It's like just fucking great. Really cool stuff about Britain. And then they changed it to this fucking piece of shit blue thing. And it just went back to how passports used to look in the 1990s, where you have like a rose in the middle of the page and that's it. There's nothing clever about it. I love showing people this. One of my weather passports, weather and environment passports that I had, which are issued between about 2011 to 2015, something like that. They had, if you open them up, and just before where the fold is between the pages, they had a thermometer, right? And on the thermometer, they had a temperature. And as you went through the passport, the temperature went up and up, because the temperature was the number of the page. So when you're on page 17 of the passport, the temperature, the mercury, which was actually the words British passport written in tiny, tiny little letters, British passport, it went up to 17, right? And then on 19, it went up to 19. And on page 21, it went up to 21 degrees Celsius, right? But the temperature scale only went up to 36 degrees C, right? So what happens when you, like me, you had a 48-page passport rather than a 32-page passport? Well, on page 34, it switched using the same scale, the same thing, because it had Fahrenheit on the other side. So once you got to page 34, it switched from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and then went up incrementally 2 degrees for every, because it was on the right page. It wasn't on both of them. It was on the right page, just along the fold. And it was just, and it went up to page 48 or whatever the last page was. Fucking brilliant. And just like, I love the fact that someone sat there and went, I know what I'm going to do. A designer sat there meticulously designing that. and going, why don't we have the mercury going up for each page? Just really subtly. I love that. I love that someone spent that time to do that. And now we've got these new ones, and every page is the fucking same. It's just like a rose design on each fucking page. Whoop-de-doo! Absolute shite. I hate that the Brexiters took that away from me. You know, they're taking so much. They've taken so much. And still, even today, Brexiters will still defend Brexit and go, oh, it just wasn't done properly. Yes, it fucking was done properly, you stupid fucking dickhead, because they took away your right to go and live and work anywhere else in Europe, and they fucked our economy for us, not for the rich. The rich made loads of money out of Brexit. The rich made a killing out of Brexit. Don't forget, the biggest people who, you know, big pro Brexit people like Jacob Rees-Mogg moved their capital fucking funds from the UK to Dublin. Barclays moved over 200 billion with a B, 200 billion euros from London and moved them to Dublin. Didn't want that money. It's fine. No, that's all right. You keep it. And someone said to me about that. They went, oh, but money moves around all the time, Graham. It's just the way life is. I'm like, no. Banks do not normally need to go to the High Court of the United Kingdom, of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, to ask permission to move fucking money. Because it was such a vast sum of money, they had to go and ask permission. And the government was like, yeah, we don't want that money. Money's for losers. Why do you think these motherfuckers hardly spend any time in this country? Why do you think that, like, Nigel Farage is always mooning around in fucking America, or Richard Tice is always in Dubai? They fucking hate this place. They only use it as somewhere to scribble their money away while they still can. Then again, you know, who's gonna be, you know, sitting pretty in a few years' time if Farage gets in and sell me Ireland, and I don't need to pay any capital gains tax on it because they make capital gains zero, which is probably something that they'll do. They want to cut taxes for the rich. I should say to people who set up the refuck stalls in our towns and villages around the country, say to them, thank you so much. I didn't want to have to pay any capital gains tax on my vast fortune that I got from selling this island that I won in a game show. So, thank you, pleb. Thank you, pleb. Fucking arseholes. I don't think I could get that much money for it, but you know, the point remains. In fairness, given the choice, I wouldn't spend much time in England either. Which is fair enough at the moment. What is coldest, minus 40 degrees centigrade or minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit? Isn't that the point where they cross over? We were talking yesterday about how rundown and grubby UK is, sadly. Not all of it, Mr. Tisk. Not all of it. There are some really nice places still in the UK. But our high streets have been absolutely battered. And that's another thing that Brexit has done, is absolutely battered our high streets. Just think about it. Like everything that Brexit has done has benefited the big American multinationals like Amazon and like Starbucks and like McDonald's and Coca-Cola and whatever. It's benefited them to the detriment of everything British. You know, you go into a restaurant, can you get R. White's lemonade in a restaurant? Can you fuck? You've got to get Sprite. You got to get, you know, whatever Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola tell you you're going to drink. That's it. They're your options. You don't get like a soft drink menu. I mean, you can get smoothies, I suppose, and stuff like that. But when it comes to just getting a drink with your meal, if you're not drinking wine or beer, it's Coca-Cola. It's the American companies. Even in a little fucking British cafe, British pub meal, there you go, have some Coca-Cola. Every British pub has got Coca-Cola on tap, or the famous words of, it's Pepsi, is that all right? Which is fine, because it all tastes the fucking same. Fahrenheit is a damn mess, absolutely nonsensical. I love Fahrenheit. It's fucking crazy. Well, 0 degrees in Fahrenheit is the freezing point of salt water. How much salt in the water? Fuck knows. And the 100 degrees is the temperature of blood. Not anyone's blood, but Mr. Fahrenheit's blood, who had particularly hot blood. So for everybody else, the blood temperature needs to be, what, 96.7 or something, or 97? Yeah, what a great system. What a great system. It's funny in Britain, like people go when it's hot, they go, "Oh, it's 100 degrees today." They never say, "Oh, it's 34 degrees" when it's freezing, do they? Panamanian pointless. Lol. South Devon is gorgeous. You couldn't turf me out of here. Yeah. Northumbria. Northumberland. Northumberland is gorgeous. The lakes, the Peak District. There's lots of lovely places around England. The fucking Scottish Highlands. I mean, the whole of Scotland, to be honest with you, apart from some parts of Glasgow, which are best probably left to one side for this analogy. But Liverpool, go get on the bus or drive or whatever, or have a walk through South Liverpool. It's fucking gorgeous. Go and walk from John Lennon's house to, I don't know, Strawberry Fields, and then go down Penny Lane to Sefton Park. It's lovely. It's genuinely lovely. There is a lot of nice places. The 100 Fahrenheit point was Farage's, Fahrenheit's wife's armpit. Well, there you go. You might be able to get Fetterman's in bottles. Panamanian pointless. I have hot blood too. Ooh, okay, Kate, calm down. I'm always cold. I think my kidneys are pagod, says person. I'm always cold. I'm fucking hate it. It's one of the things that I hate about living up in the northeast here. It's like permanently freezing. I mean, I got my fleece on. The sun's out. It should be quite warm, but it's not. And it's one of those days where it's like, it's 20 degrees in the sun. It's like 3 degrees in the shade. My problem with England isn't the places, it's the people. I'm hoping Scotland will treat me better. Yeah, there's knobheads in Scotland though. I should warn you, Gallifreyan Ren, there are knobheads in Scotland, but I don't think there's as many. Especially like the south of England is particularly bad. The southeast, sorry, one angry pagan. The southeast of England is particularly bad for knobheads, but then the southwest is as well. Not necessarily because of the people from the southwest, but the people from the southeast who have a second holiday home there, which is most of them, by the looks of things. I can get many buses to the edge of my city that will get me to picturesque countryside. Yeah. Good and bad in all places, all parts of the UK. Yeah. You got to take the rough with the smooth. You know, Paris is the city of love. It's beautiful. The city of light. The city of light. Go out to what you may as well call the projects on the outskirts. They're fucking horrible. Just horrible, brutalist, blot out the sun, fucking concrete and piss, fucking messes. Boxes for people to live in. Tiny boxes with no light and windows that aren't fucking open. You know those Boris buses that they're getting rid of? They're getting rid of all the Boris buses in London, the new Route Masters, which are like a nod and a wink to the old Route Masters. Do you know the problem was with them? Not the getting on the back and all that kind of shit. No, that wasn't the problem. That was they didn't have fucking windows that opened. Because the guy who designed them didn't know anything about fucking buses because he had never probably got on a bus in his fucking life. He just looked at a picture of a bus and went, "Yeah, I can do that." They made these buses without windows, so in the summer they were like stiflingly hot. Or windows that open. I mean, they did have windows, but they didn't have windows that opened. It's just like a basic thing that you can put on a bus. There you go. Magical fucking air conditioning. When you're moving on the bus, even on a hot day, and the windows are open, you'll get yourself a nice cool breeze coming through the fucking window. Because you got 30 miles an hour wind, which is air moving at 30 miles an hour, which is going to cool the bus down. This is someone who had to get, a bus, 2 buses, 4 buses, 4 buses every day. From the age of 11 to the age of 18. So for 7 years of my life, I had to get 2 buses to school and 2 buses back every fucking day. Yeah. So, and I travelled around the world on public transport as well. So let us open the fucking windows. Just let us open the windows. It's fine. It's fine. Unless you're travelling through a fucking desert, just let us open the fucking windows. Between Charles de Gaulle and Paris Centre is horrible. Yep. The Pompidou Centre, I fucking hate it. It's gobshite of a building. Fucking disgusting. Lots of folks didn't pay on the Route Master buses. Just got on the back. So glad to see the new fleet of electric buses. Their stagecoaches have gotten down there. Much smoother ride. Yeah. It's another thing I fucking hated about buses in growing up. It's just the way the bus driver used to slam on the fucking brakes. Every time we stopped. Very sensitive brakes on those buses. Boiling point refers to sea level. It plays games at other heights. Oh, yes. The boiling point of water at sea level. That's why you can't have a decent brew at the top of Everest because water boils at the top of Everest at something like 67 degrees. Can't get it hotter than 67 degrees. It just evaporates. So, yeah, if you want a nice hot cup of tea, you got to take it with you. Mm. Although I suppose if it's too hot in your thermos, do you open the thermos and it just all steam? It just comes out of steam? I don't know. Has anyone tried it? Anyone tried taking a hot cup of tea up to the top of Everest? That'd be a fun thing to do. Little science experiment. But yeah. But the world is flat, you know. The flat earthers, the flurfers. You know, this whole flat earth thing was just invented by some bored scientists who just thought, to have a laugh. Just to try and prove that he could prove anything, one and one equals three, or that the world is flat, or that the stars are just pinpricks of light in the curtain of night. Sheffield Steve, EV buses are better in the summer, but they mostly have aircon. I got on our freebie bus during the hot one a couple of years ago. It was chilled, heaven, 100%. Some Rangers fans support the loyalist paramilitaries in Northern Ireland. Yes, they do. I mean, Rangers and Celtic in Glasgow is it's not just a footy divide; it's a religious divide, which is not great. Our new yellow buses in Greater Manchester are quite noisy, to be honest. Are they electric and they're noisy? Are they electric or are they not electric? I fucking hate the sound of bloody diesel motors. Like truck drivers leave the fucking engines on all night, or you're standing next to a bus. When you're trying to cross the road and you're waiting and there's a bus there. And it's the engine's fairly just a few meters away. It's like, and there's a certain frequency. I'm sure it's like a brown note or something that makes you shit yourself, but it's just unpleasant feeling, like the hum, that intense humming of evil. Anyway, so Charles did well yesterday. Charles did well. Credit where credit is due. Charles handled this properly, as we've come to expect from our monarchs. That he's had a lot of time in training, hasn't he? I mean, he didn't become fucking king until he was like 75 years old or something mad. So, well done, mate. He went to Washington. He calmed things down. He protected British interest. He avoided causing a diplomatic incident. He didn't openly insult the host, but he did slightly insult the host. He praised the alliance of America and Britain and NATO and its need for support for Ukraine. He didn't humiliate Britain. He referenced checks and balances and defended constitutional restraint and emphasized that power must be accountable. I mean, these are all digs at Trump because he wants to run things as an Asian regime king, like a divine right absolute monarch. Whereas, arguably, Charles is a divine right absolute monarch. Sorry, divine right monarch. He's not absolutist because he's got no real power. He's just got a power of persuasion. And obviously, he's got the rubber stamp for anything that goes through Parliament. But the reality is that no king or queen has refused to give that rubber stamp since 1707 or 1708. So over 200 years, nearly 220 years since that's actually happened. Something that never happens. Wheels Darren, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Very harsh on us born in the southeast, but you're right. Sorry. I didn't mean to be right on that one. I don't want to be right. Lots of racist and bigoted people around here. Worst thing is Farage has 2 houses within 2 miles of my place. Because, one house is never enough for these rich motherfuckers. But then again, I'm saying that. Thanks so much for super chat. But there's fucking gobshites around here in Durham. We've got all the fucking flags up halfway up the fucking lamppost. Got some proper guy. They voted for refuck in the last elections. They voted in this guy, Andrew Husband, whose last company went bump out on 1.5 million fucking pounds to who knows. He took COVID loans that are never going to be paid off now. That's our money. He took our money, thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of pounds of our money that he never intends to pay back. What a motherfucker. Cavern Lad, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Hello all. One more for the confetti goal. Oh, that is very sweet of you. Thank you. One of the early attempts at the summit of Everest took potatoes to cook as food. The tatters were still hard after being boiled all night. There you go. I'm glad that the scientists are proved right, as always, as they always are when they go, here is a constant that always happens everywhere in this particular circumstance, anywhere in the universe. And people are like, oh no, I'm going to prove them wrong. And the people that are all these scientists who think, after studying for 20 years in their chosen profession with all this data, all this information, all these meta-studies, fuck them. Yeah. Talking of meta-studies, I did mention this yesterday, but there was a meta-study into trans women in competitive sports and the fact that it makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. Metadata, metadata, is it? Sports. There we go. A 2026 meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine suggests after 1 to 3 years of gender-affirming hormone therapy, transgender women's physical fitness, including upper, lower body strength and aerobic capacity, is comparable to cisgender women, finding no evidence of sustained biological athletic advantage. So there you go. Not my words, Lynn. The words of Shakin' Stevens. That's my favourite line from Alan Partridge. Thank you very much to Viper Scott, Alistair. You're a wonderful, wonderful man, and you have given me the opportunity to once again release. I'm gonna have to disconnect. Which one is which? Is that one? I'm going to disconnect that. I'm going to take out. I've taken out my little my little radio thing. It goes into the USB in the computer, and now I should be able to go 3, 2, 1. Confetti! Yes, it worked! Woo! Confetti! Don't be meffy. Let's get some confetti. So thanks very much to everyone for that. I'm just going to plug my USB in. I'm going to put it in the wrong way up. Yep, done that. Now to put it the right way up. Yeah, let's put that in again. Yeah, good. When the guy who invented USBs gets buried, or the woman, or the person who invented USBs gets buried, I think what they need to do is they need to lower the coffin in, and they need to make it rise out the hole, and they need to turn it around, and then put it back down in the hole, and then they need to lift it up, and then turn it around again, and then put it back in the hole, and it'll fit. One angry pagan says new studies are finding that human genetic evolution sped up over the last 10,000 years compared before that. Today our genome is more diverse than ever. Yet again proving to the racists they're wrong. There's no social Darwinism and this idea of eugenics and stuff. It's just bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit. But yeah, human evolution sped up. So amongst people who were anywhere near the island of Ireland over the last 10,000 years have an amazing resistance to the lactose intolerance that plagues most people around the world. The vast majority of people cannot drink milk on this planet because, quite sensibly, that when you're 4 years old, you should become lactose intolerant because by then you should have been weaned off your mum's boobs because you can't spend the rest of your adult life being breastfed. And there are people like Jacob Rees-Mogg possibly who would probably go for that option if that was available to them, or at least their parents would. So, or their mother would. So to stop that from happening, nature went, right, what we're going to do is we're going to make it so you can't drink milk over the age of 4. You won't be able to drink milk. You'll be sick everywhere if you try and drink milk because we're going to make you lactose intolerant. So that's why the vast majority of people in Africa, in Asia, in China, in Japan, Taiwan, they're lactose intolerant. But the human DNA has changed, adapted from certain Europeans, and it makes it so we can actually have not just we can drink milk, we can have a whole industry based around milk. We can have a whole bloody buying your cereal and stuff with milk with lactose in it, and then you've got other forms. So keeping an aspect of childhood into, or childhood's not the right word for animals, I guess, of being a baby or being young, keeping a certain aspect of that into adult life. It's called neoteny. I think it's called neoteny. And it's interesting because humans have a lot of neotic traits. One of the big ones, us not getting hair. Obviously men get a bit of hair here, but as they get older, but we're nowhere near as hairy as our ape cousins in the chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas, orangutans, and that's a trait of very young babies, that they don't have much hair, that we continue on into adult life. Interestingly, the reason why teenagers are such an absolute mardy pain in the arse is because, for the same reason that you're supposed to not keep being breastfed past the age of 3 or 4, and nature sort of put things in place to make sure that didn't happen. The reason why teenagers are very difficult to live with is because they need to leave home. That's evolution, baby. That is evolution right there. They'll be narky, obnoxious. People have very fractured relationships with their teenage kids. And then once they fuck off to university or live somewhere else, you tend to find that your relationship with your kids gets a lot better, although you do see a lot less of them, I guess, at that point. But yeah, funny. And nature pushes us gently in certain directions. Get off the boob. And then about 10 years later, it's like, right, get out the fucking house. Go and hunt and gather for yourself, you crazy bastards. Our eldest drinks dry cereal because he doesn't like milk. Stinging nettles have a great amount of vitamins and also probably like milk. Lots of our wild weeds would have more nutrition than what's sold. I'm learning, says £1.50. Yeah, but I mean, most of the things we eat now have been genetically modified. Not through test tubes and petri dishes and teat pipettes. No, through cultivars, through taking cuttings, through splicing different taking different bits and bobs from different plants and creating a new tree that creates things like oranges, which are a completely man-made thing. From the wild cabbage plant, we get Brussels sprouts, we get cabbage, obviously, but we also get broccoli and cauliflower. That all comes from the wild cabbage that humans have cultivated over many generations, absolute, long time. But the ones you get in the wild don't look like that. It's like our bananas. Our bananas are all genetically exactly the fucking same because we all eat Cavendish bananas. Everywhere in the world, you get a banana, it's a Cavendish banana, because that's all we grow. I mean, there are certain varieties of bananas. Obviously, you can get plantains if you're out in the Caribbean, and there's like monkey finger bananas. But most of your everyday food stuff, there is something that existed in the wild back in the day, or maybe still does in the wild, but it looks radically different and tastes radically different from what you have these days. And when we talk about nutritional value, there's a lot of nutrients in fruit and veg, an insane amount. And that's why they go on about your 5 a day. It's a really, really good thing for you to eat. Interestingly, the whole, when in the 1950s, and I know this would appeal to certain people who just see food as fuel, but they said, we'll get everything in a pill. We'll get everything in a pill form, right? And the equivalent of that now are these people who do the bodybuilding stuff, and they have the protein shake. It's got to have protein. Everything's got to have protein in. And it doesn't quite work a lot of the time in the way that people think it's going to, because the way your body breaks things down. So if you have protein in peanuts or in meat or something like that, it's accompanied by other stuff. And the way that your stomach deals with it is it knows, okay, well, it doesn't know, but, it kind of works out, I guess, over billions of years of evolution. It kind of works out, taken as a complex object that we have swallowed, it breaks it down. Whereas if it's just refined protein, or particularly bad for humans, sugar, which doesn't exist in the natural world in that way, it'll be in honey, or it'll be in fruit. It'll be a different form of sugar. It'll be fructose or whatever, or maple syrup or something like that. It doesn't really exist as just refined sugar. It's really, really bad for us because we have it, and our stomach's just like, what the fuck is this? This is insane. It's like swallowing a protein pill, and it fucks us up. So yeah, that's why protein pills never really took off. Also, why would you not want to eat like lovely food? I know Gallifreyan Ren's going to be with me on this one, but yeah, why would you not want to make that lovely food? Just fucking eat it. Just eat food. Come on, it's one of the joys in life. It's one of the joys of travel. It's traveling around the world and eating bloody delicious food, trying something new. Protein has been superseded by other things in gym culture these days. Yeah. Gym. Does anyone know any people who like gym bunnies who just talk about the gym all the time and they post on Wikipedia. They post on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. Gym. I went to the gym. Look at me in the gym. I did this thing in the gym, and it's all like it's foreign language to me. I'm very happy for them, and it's just other fans something that they enjoy and they want to share it with the rest of the world. That's cool, Just don't fuck yourself up. Like maple syrup. Not a fan of honey, but will force myself. Or sugarcane. Hey, wait a minute. Well, you can get sugarcane, which again, the way that sugar existed in the wild, existed in the wild, isn't like what the sugarcane that we get now. But you can get sugarcane, put it through a Joe Mangle, Mrs. Mangle, turn the handle and squeeze it, and you'll get a nice sugary drink out of it, which is very pleasant. It's probably the best way to get that sugar, but that's not what we do. We refine sugar. That's really, really bad for us. Kids chew sugarcane all the time in the West Indies, pure sugar. Sheffield, contact your practice. But you chew sugarcane, you're getting it's not like dry sugar. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not been processed, it's not been refined, it's not just there is other stuff in it as well. I find the most exhausting thing about going to the gym is sneaking that information into every conversation I have. That's like that old joke, isn't it? About how do you know someone's an atheist? Don't worry, they'll tell you. How do you know someone's a vegetarian? Don't worry, they'll tell you. How do you know someone goes to the gym? Don't worry, they'll tell you. I'm off to the gym. Off to the gym, I tell you. Off to the gym. Anyway, so if you want a link to this British Medical Journal piece on body composition and physical fitness in transgender versus cisgender individuals, a systemic review meta-analysis. I'm going to do it here. So it's in the chat. It's in the chat. But yeah, that's it there. The BJSM. So please share that amongst your friends and family, so let them know that don't worry. Trans women aren't coming to take all of your 5th place medals from you. Not that you get a medal when you come 5th. Maybe you get a certificate that says you come 5th. Becoming 5th, joint 5th. It does have minerals and vitamins, sugarcane. Yeah, there's other stuff in it. The refining of a particular food stuff to its very basic stuff inside it. The way our digestion works, it's better to be mixed in with other stuff. It's better that the protein is in a steak rather than a pill. Just a pill of protein isn't very good for you because of the way that we break down food. Anyway, I don't know why we started talking about this. We're talking about bloody King Charles. Don't you hate the way Trump just goes off on a fucking tangent that's got nothing to do with what he's supposed to be talking about? Oh. Anyway, soft power. Diplomacy. I mean, I think America was the reaction to King Charles's speech yesterday in Congress is quite marked because he had this bipartisan, obviously, appeal to it. They were on their feet clapping. He managed to remind America that democracy means institutions matter more than personalities. And this is soft power. This is actual diplomacy. This is something that Britain used to be fucking amazing at. Probably the best in the world at, in my book, right? Soft power. America, not so much. I think America's a bit too bombastic about it all, but just quietly, gently nudging people, institutions, countries in a certain direction. Britain was a fucking master at it. And then we had Brexit. And in the last 10 years, it's just been damage control. So it's kind of nice to see, in a way, like someone from Britain going over and saying the things that need to be said in a way that gets across to people without it being seen as insulting or belittling. But it's Charles being left doing the grown-up work, while politicians of all stripes are bickering and arguing amongst themselves and feathering their own nests if they're on the right, especially. Jesus Christ. No politician on the right goes into politics to better the country. Every politician on the right goes into politics to fucking make themselves more money. That's it. I mean, maybe in the past you could argue in the later half of the 20th century, yeah, there were some politicians on the right who went in for the right reasons. Now, they just want money. More money. More money. More money. Anyway, so, mo money, mo problems. Mo Farah. Mo Molan. Mo Salah. I think the British system is better. Okay? I think having a separate head of state to head of government is a much better system than America. And I can't find anyone who really wants to argue with me on that one. I don't think having a monarchy is necessarily the be-all and end-all. But the king represents continuity, I guess. And the nation, he symbolizes the nation above that of party politics. I do worry that if we had an elected head of state, that Farage would win. And it would be Farage going around the world representing Britain. And that terrifies me. Because people vote for demagogues. The way that I would do it, if we were going to have an elected representative as our head of state, I would do it like what they do in Germany or in India, where they have a president who is a ceremonial role. Really, they can help out in a constitutional crisis, but other than that, they go around opening supermarkets and smiling and saving puppies from burning trees. I don't know, whatever kings do these days, presidents do. Andrew, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. JD Vance didn't clap for Ukraine nor global warming. Yeah, he's a piece of shit, isn't he? A Russian fucking asset with lots of makeup on because he's a fucking clown as well. We learned to say, sorry, I'll chat about the evasion thing. Here's a biscuit in every language in the world. Yeah. Seen a YouTube short from Doughty's channel where you see Trump plotting his revenge after Seth Mayo was roasting him at either Bush's or Obama's press dinner. It was Obama's. It was Obama in 2011 when he it was Obama was standing up and making fun of Donald Trump because he's supposed to be a bit of a roast of everyone there, you know, the great and the good, including the president himself, the correspondence dinner. Obviously, that's why Trump's never gone before, because he doesn't like people being mean to him. So he made sure that everyone in there was going to be nice to him, except for the guy who turned up with all the guns. JD has chemical burns from a cleaning product on a leather sofa. Why doesn't that surprise me? So JD has chemical... Oh, I've read that one. I hope JD has the clap. Does that make me a bad person? No. I hope he fucking dies, shitting himself to death. Don't care. I hate these people. These people have killed people in America. They've killed people all over the world. They dropped a bomb on a school full of little girls in Iran. Killed over 150 little girls. It doesn't bear thinking about. These people are fucking scum, you know. And I say these people as if there's like loads of them. I just mean these individuals, okay? Because you shouldn't judge people by, you know, the circumstances of their birth, essentially. What you need to judge people on is their actions. And every action that JD Vance has taken, every action that Trump has taken has just been absolute scumbaggery on the highest level. And nest feathering, you know. But yeah, if the Prime Minister fucks up in this country, right, makes a mess, we can kick him out, you know. Head of state, head of government, separate jobs, separate legitimacy. But America's merged that into one person. And so the president is not just head of the state, not just head of the government, but also head of the military as well, which is nuts. It's a symbolic father figure, the global diplomat, the party leader, and, you know, ego atomic bomb all at once. It's insane. It turns politics into a personality cult. And that is just wrong as far as I'm concerned. They elect in America. They elect a king. You have these no kings protests. Well, change your fucking constitution then. They elect a king, yeah, the America can survive bad prime ministers because the state is bigger than the PM. Whereas America, Are they going to survive Trump? No, not in the way that we remember America. It's so diminished now already, and it's going to take decades. It's going to take generations to get back to where it was. Dysentery, like Robin Williams described in Mr. Doubtfire. That's the best I could wish for JD and Dunph. Yep. Andy, I'm reading the gunman at the dinner didn't have a gun or a knife. He had a protest sign. The guards shot at each other. Yeah, but the point is that most people don't think that actually anything actually happened to. Kat's in Manchester today. She just messaged me to say that the sun is out. What's the world coming to? The sun is out in Manchester. Oh, rejoice, my Mancunian cousins, for the sun to show its face in your beautiful little armpit of the Pennines. Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud? Just saying. When you elect a king, you also elect a king, says Early Burns. Ooh. Tampons. Anyway, so yeah, I say that America elects kings. That's not true, is it? They elect emperors. Because the influence that they have on other countries is massive. It's absolutely massive. I get really antsy with Americans when they go, "Why do you care about American politics? You're not even American." I'm like, "Cause it affects me, you stupid twat." Because of Trump's actions, your rent is going up. The price of your fuel is going up. Your mortgages are going up. The price of your food is going up because of Trump. The amount of disposable income you have at the end of the month is going down. This month I've got no disposable income whatsoever because obviously my super chats took a bit of a knock last month. So yeah, I'm taking a bit of a knock this month as well. But then I have been fannying around changing the days of doing stuff. But honestly, moving the Friday night social to Sunday has already paid off because we managed to get Femi on the show a couple of days ago, and I've got some more guests lined up over the next few weeks, so I'm quite excited about it. I'm not going to jinx it by saying who it's going to be, but keep watching, friends. Keep watching the old Sunday night social. Questionable Absanity, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Please read Asset Class by Hetty O'Brien. Okay. Asset Class. Oh, keyboard's not working. Why is my keyboard not working? Can someone tell me what's wrong with my keyboard? What has happened to my keyboard? Right, so just before anyone says, but your battery's probably gone, I can show you this little battery tester. See a little battery tester? You put that in there and you get the lights light up. See where the light came on? It's there. Yeah, see there? Yeah, it's good. Battery's working. It's fine. But this keyboard and this mouse are on the same thing. Maybe the mouse is wrecking it. Maybe I should just take the battery out of the mouse since that's not working anyway. Yeah, it's having a bit of a day. But then again, I think that maybe a key is stuck down on the key. Oh, it's working now. It's working. Maybe it was the mouse. It wasn't the keyboard that was fucking things up. Maybe it was the mouse. Naughty mouse, bad mouse. I'll do a little comedy thing where I throw it over my shoulder, but it might be okay. I might try and fix it. I have some fluff in it. I don't know. Do you used to have a ball in your mouse? Remember when your mouse had a massive ball? Anyway, asset class. Come on, let's go. Let's go look at asset class. Asset classes? Hetty. Don't get all Hetty up. Right. 5 days ago. It's new. The asset class by Hetty O'Brien reviewed The Hidden Hand of Private Equity. It's a dark tale. Private equity partnerships are groups of individual and institutional investors with deep pockets. O'Brien traces the rise following the era of deregulation inaugurated by Thatcher and Reagan, fuckers, and details how Blackstone, the Qatar Investment Authority, Macquarie, KKR, very close to the KKK, that isn't it, and others have bought undervalued assets using borrowed money to minimize their exposure to risk. What happens next is that costs, wages, and investments in the future are frequently cut to the bone in the cause of exceptionally high returns. That sounds really good. Questionable obscenity. I will have to check that out. Right. Mission accomplished as King's speech to Congress goes down a storm. Another super chat came in. I think there are two aspects of the UK system which make it superior. One, the head of government is the legislature and answerable to it. Two, each party in the UK has an identifiable leader at all times. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's more than just two, actually. And I think that we've had the worst of it with prime ministers like Boris Johnson and Liz Truss, but the system worked. We got rid of Boris Johnson because he was a gobshite. You know, that was it. You know, he was a gobshite, and his party fucking turned on him in the end and decided he was an electoral nightmare and got rid of him. Then they got Truss, and then they realised 44 days in that she was a fucking nightmare and got rid of her. She was hiding under a table. Imagine walking into a room at CPAC and finding Liz Truss under a table and JD Vance fucking a couch. God, it'd be fucking surreal, wouldn't it? Don't want to see that, though, do you? I got a cat called Hattie who nearly got trapped in a chicken run today. Oh dear. Oh dear, you don't get trapped in a chicken run. I thought you were going to say got trapped in a hat. That would have been really hilarious. You got a cat called Hattie who got trapped in a hat. But chicken run, yeah. Trickle down cognitive reasoning. Yes. Johnson staying on humanity, Truss demented. At least we got rid of them. We got rid of them. We didn't have to wait until the midterms. We didn't have to wait until the next presidential election. But they may or may not try and cheese that. I'm not going to bore you to death going through all the ways that I think that the British system is better. And this is not in any way to say that Britain has the best system. But I think it's a pretty good system, as systems go. And yes, it's not perfect. It's messy. It's stupid. It has infuriating facets to it. I don't agree with first past the post. I think we should have ranked voting so that every vote counts. That's what I would like. So even if you if you want to vote for your first choice, you can. No more tactical voting. You can choose the Greens. You can choose Plaid Cymru. You can choose the SNP, and then you can choose someone else after it, in the safe knowledge that your vote isn't going to refuck or the Tories, which we don't have at the moment, which I think is demonstrably unfair. Fix that problem. Look at having a DeHunt system, a party list system, or whatever you want to do, right? Fix that system like they've done in Wales. And I think we'll have not a perfect system. No system will ever be perfect. But don't forget, our political systems are a reflection of us as humans. And like no story is ever perfect. No relationship is ever perfect. We live in the only thing that's perfect in the universe is mathematics, where 1 and 1 does equal 2 under most circumstances. But yeah, outside the realms of science, everything's a bit messy, and there's nothing that's really digital. It's all when you talk about biology, when you talk about human interaction, it's all analog. It's all just it's all shades of grey. It's all a spectrum. No one has perfect autism. No one has perfect ADHD. No one has a perfect disability. No one has a perfect style of parenting. It works every fucking day of every fucking week, which some people like to pretend they have on Instagram, but they don't. We're not perfect, and why should we demand perfection of our institutions or political systems when we're not perfect ourselves? I mean, it does seem a bit ridiculous. That's not to say they can't be made better, though. When I compare the British system with the American system, which unfortunately has been transported all over the world, and isn't it interesting that countries that followed the American model, like most countries in Latin America, a lot of countries in the Caribbean, a lot of countries over in Africa, followed the American model of democracy, and have ended up with dictators in charge, ended up with these lunatics who have gone around murdering vast swathes of their own population. And don't get me wrong, there's people in the UK who would fucking love to do that, but I'd like to see them try. in the same way that the countries around the world that took on the parliamentary model were a lot less likely to fall into tyranny, to have a strongman dictator. And yeah, they've done some fucking horrible things in the past. Britain did fucking horrible things, still does. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying it's better. Just saying that there are certain things that I think that America can learn from us. And do you know what? Let's be completely fair here. There are certain things that we can learn from America. I keep going on about whistleblowers, right? I can't believe that although Trump's administration's going after whistleblowers to stop them whistleblowing. True story. But in America, if you blow the whistle on a company that's dumping toxic chemicals into a lake and killing all the people who live in the village nearby, there's a class action lawsuit. You get a cut of that suit. If you're a whistleblower and you say, "Yeah, they did pump those chemicals. I've got the receipts," you get a cut. So you might end up getting $7 million for being a whistleblower. In the UK, you get nothing. You don't just lose your job; you lose any chance of working in the industry that you're working in anytime ever again. And don't forget, any kind of industry that needs a whistleblower, that whistleblower is going to be paid a lot of money to do that job. That's why people stay quiet. The people sort of, there's no duty of candor at the moment, not until the Hillsborough Law finally becomes fucking law at some point hope not in the dim and distant future. But yeah, it's funny. My MP in Liverpool, Ian Byrne, he's the MP for Liverpool West Derby constituency. He's quite anti-Starmer. He's quite he's quite critical of the government. Him and my MP here, Mary Foy, both voted against the government yesterday in the vote to whether whether Keir Starmer should face the Privileges Committee investigation into whether he misled the House. And there were 15 Labour MPs who defied the 3-line whip. And Ian Byrne, it's Ian Byrne, isn't it? Ian Byrne was one of them, and Mary Foy was like next on the list. I was like, oh, my MPs. Everyone should have at least 2 MPs. That cause trouble. I'm listening to my solitary bees at the moment. They are pretty perfect. I fucking love bees and their wiggle dances. They do a little wiggle dance to tell all the other bees whether good pollination is. It's fucking great. You know about the bat who was flying. There was a bat flying across the it was a vampire bat, wasn't it? He went back to all the other vampire bats who didn't have any because the farm had gone, and he comes back and he's covered in blood, and they're like, "Whoa, where'd you find all that blood?" He goes, "I'll show you." And he said, all the bats fly out, and he goes, see that tree down there?" And he went, "Yeah." He goes, "I didn't." Anyway, so let's talk about Farage. I don't want to talk about Farage. Do I have to talk about Farage? Go on, mention him. Trump's fucking court jester. The self-appointed British ambassador to Mar-a-Lago, forever hovering near Trump, like a man hoping proximity might actually translate into I don't know, acknowledgement of his existence. And he spent half his life trying to impress foreign fucking billionaires who openly disrespect our country. And that's not patriotism. That's just fucking. It's just embarrassing. He says he's defending British history. He's not. He's feathering his own nest as always. And assuring Trump that refuck will be more obedient than Labour. How submissive, how pathetic, how craven. What a gobshite. Nothing says sovereignty like flying to another continent and begging approval from the fucking dear leader. Who's only going to be in post for another 2 years. Thank fuck. He's like the bloke outside the nightclub claiming he's on the list, Trump doesn't fucking need him. Britain doesn't fucking need him. But Farage desperately needs Trump. And it's interesting in the last couple of months since this invasion of Iran that Trump is like, oh no, Farage is like, Trump is just someone that I used to know, like Goatsy or whatever that fella's name was who sung that song. Yes, I know it wasn't Goatsy, I'm joking. The Iran war kind of has really exposed how hollow this relationship has become. Not least the the tariffs and everything else, and the fact that America has stopped supporting Ukraine. Like no money is going into Ukraine anymore. The last batch of money that was sanctioned by Congress went through last year, and that's it. There's no more coming from Trump and his traitorous dogs that are his cabinet. Yeah, Britain managed to maintain legal constraints on what the US could do in terms of attacking Iran. They would not let attack planes take off from Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, and this, we have legal obligations. We can't, and Trump's saying, "Oh, NATO should be helping us." No, NATO's a defensive alliance, dickhead. You weren't attacked. No one attacked you. Reminds me of the story from the Odyssey where old Odysseus and his mates have been taken. They've been kidnapped by the great Cyclops, haven't they? And when Odysseus meets the Cyclops, the Cyclops asks him what his name is, and he says his name is Nobody. So while Odysseus is trying to poke this guy's fucking eye out, he's screaming out to the other Cyclopses, Cyclopsi, I don't know, and he's the other Cyclops like, "Who's attacking you?" And he goes, "Nobody. Nobody's attacking me." And they go, "Hoo, he's gone crazy," and they walk off. I love that story. I love that story. Anyway, sorry, nobody. My name is Nobody. But yeah, Britain, we've got legal obligations. We can't just go and invade countries on the say so of America. The times we've done that, it's blown up in our fucking faces. So let's not do that again. Let's learn from our mistakes. Wouldn't that be wonderful? There are certain humans that can learn from their mistakes. And I respect this. I really do. And I hope that I've learned from my mistakes. I've fucked up in the past. I've fucked up massively in the past. Some things that I've fucked up over still haunt me to this day. But I feel like the learning experiences, when you think back to something that you did that was awful or stupid or cringe or whatever, and you get that feeling in your stomach like, oh, fuck, that kind of knotting of your stomach when you think back on that thing, when you said that thing, you did that thing. That's your body saying, don't fucking do that again. Farage doesn't have that. Trump doesn't have that. None of them have that feeling. They just don't. That's your natural feeling when you do something terrible. Some people learn from their mistakes. I saw a good interview with someone talking about this terrible Diary of a CEO podcast, which is turning into the British sort of Joe Rogan, platforming gobshites and crackpots and just saying, well, we're just having a conversation. Not realizing that giving them a platform in the first place is making a statement. But yeah, they're sitting there going, they're all these successful CEOs, there's all these successful people. At some point, what do you want? You want to get people who aren't successful on to say what went wrong and what they learned from fucking up. And because these CEOs, they go, "Oh, how did you become a CEO?" Well, I just got up very early in the morning, 5 a.m. I had a bowl of muesli, and then I went out for a run, and I worked very hard. And then I played golf in the afternoon, and then we have a liquid lunch, and And the reality is, the vast majority of CEOs got to their position because they had someone who could lend them some fucking money. Don't forget, Jeff Bezos, and people go, he was selling books from his garden shed. No, he fucking wasn't. Fuck off. He was given the equivalent of what now, with inflation, was $500,000 loan from his parents to start his company. Do you have that? Do you have $500,000 that you can just get tax-free from your parents on a loan that you don't have to pay any interest on? Can you do that? Go in the bank, say, can I have $500,000, please? I'll tell you to fuck off. Say to the tax man, listen, can I just have $500,000? I'll just have that and don't pay any tax on it, right? So it's not stuff I've worked for that I have to pay 40% tax on, and I don't want that. Just let me have all this money. And they're like, okay, you can have it. Yeah, no one gave me anything, they say. No one gave me anything. But yeah, I think I might do this, I might be interested to do a show maybe on here called like Fail Academy or something. And what you do is you have people coming on who've failed in life and they tell you why they failed. and what the problems that they faced, so you don't make the same mistakes. And this is why there's a part of me that really likes Star Wars Episode 1, because it's absolute fucking shite. It's a dog's dinner of a movie. Narratively, it makes no sense at all. There's no main character. The people are not... There's no personality of any of the characters. The story goes nowhere. At the end of the story, everything is exactly as it was at the beginning of the story. Like the entire thing could be told in the crawl of the next episode, like the entire story. A couple of Jedis meet a little Jedi, and they go to turn into be a big Jedi. There you go. I've told the fucking story of episode 1 in fucking one. Like, who cares? Everything's the same. At the end of that film, everything is the same. Nothing has changed. The end of episode 1 of episode 4, the original Star Wars, the Death Star's fucking been blown up. Yeah, things have changed. The rebellion have struck their first big fucking blow against the Galactic Empire. Something has changed. Star Wars episode 1, nothing has changed. But why I like it is because, as someone who is really into films and studies films and writes films, one day might even get a profession out of it. It's a masterclass, an absolute masterclass in what not to do, in how not to give personality to characters, to how not to string out scenes to each other. There's no therefores between the scenes. It's just and then. So we meet this kid, okay, and then we meet this, and then this happens, and then this happens. It's not like that one thing has to happen for another thing to happen, and it makes no logical sense within its own. Obviously there's a bit of suspension of disbelief with any movie or any book or any bit of fiction, but it's just it's too much. And I'm not even talking about Jar Jar here and that shite. I'm talking about the actual narrative structure of that film is how not to make a film. There you go. Not a Star Wars fan. Too much space wizard and everyone is related. It's like Jedi infested Dallas. Yeah, I in it. The idea that you could land on another planet and find the person and just run in. Sorry, not find, but run into the person that you're looking for. So Luke is told, go to Dagobah system. There you will meet Yoda, the Jedi Master who, instructed me. Now, there is an argument that R2-D2 could have put the exact coordinates of where Yoda was because he somehow knew, right? However, imagine a spaceship lands on Earth looking for one person on Earth, and there's no internet. This one person lives in a mud hut in the middle of a swamp, eating fucking stew. Do you know what I mean? Like, how are you gonna find them? Come on, don't be reasonable. So like, I'm not talking about the sort of logical fallacies of Star Wars Episode 1 because there are a lot of them. I mean, sorry. Wouldn't you have thought that the camp English butler droid, who is clearly a tin English butler, right? Who was traveling with the princess in the original Star Wars movie as her butler, right? Wouldn't that have been something that maybe that was her mum's butler droid that she used to have, and then she passed it on to Princess Leia when she was born? But no, you're made to believe that a slave child who lives in a desert, a white slave child who lives in a desert, doesn't really work genetically, but whatever, white slave child, a white Aryan, blonde, moppet-headed slave child who lives in the desert, makes a camp English butler droid for his mum to help with the dishes. What? I mean, him making R2-D2, that'll make sense because R2-D2 doesn't do what he's told and he runs around doing his own thing all the time, and he's very adamant he wants to do his own thing. He's got his own personality, hasn't he? Whereas, like C-3PO is a butler. He's a why did the kid make a camp English butler? What? Hey, that makes I mean, switch it around. It makes sense. Yeah, okay. He likes tinkering with things. He likes fixing things. He finds an old astromech droid that's fallen out the fucking sky and he puts it together again. Brilliant. You know, he found it in a crashed X-Wing or whatever it was back then. Yoda used the Force to guide Luke's X-Wing. Yeah, that's another argument, isn't it? But yeah, not even logical fallacy. But my point is that the absolute pig's dinner that is Star Wars Episode 1 is a really fascinating insight into what doesn't work in movies. And it's why it's sometimes worth watching shit movies. It's worth watching Battlefield Earth and Showgirls and Megalopolis or whatever. I'm not seeing Megalopolis. But just to make notes on what not to do. On how not to fuck it up. And I think this is interesting because I find a lot of times, you know, people who are absolute gobshites. There's quite a few of them. Right. There's a weird thing where you meet someone who had a terrible, terrible upbringing, right? And they're just the loveliest person you'll ever fucking meet. And then you meet someone who had like really lovely parents who were really nice and caring and loving, and they just turned into gobshites. And this doesn't happen all the time. Obviously, this isn't a hard and fast rule. But when it does happen, you've got to think that one of those kids grew up with terrible parents and thought that's how not to be. They learned how not to be. Because I think it's easier to learn how not to be than to learn how to be. I'm just saying. I'm not saying to be horrible to your kids so they turn out all right, because that doesn't make any sense, but there you go. He didn't make them. C-3PO is a protocol droid, not a butler. He's a camp English butler. That's what he is. He goes around doing protocol. What do he does protocol? Fucking butlers. He's a butler droid. That's what he's based on. Well, actually, his look is based on the look of Maria, the robot from I was going to say Metropolis then. Metropolis, yeah. Not Megalopolis. What was the one that fucking Francis Ford Coppola did recently? Metropolis is the good film for its Lang from the 1920s with the robot Maria in it. Well, Maria gets turned into a robot. Sorry, spoilers. But yeah, the Megalopolis. That's what it was called, wasn't it? Shite. And then this happens, and then this happens. Does it make any sense? Does one scene lead to the other, and it all no? The OS for Butler droid you download and the default setting is English Posh. Oh my! But there you go. Why would an English Butler droid have fallen from the fucking sky? An astromech droid, that R2D2 is an astromech droid that's designed for functioning on spaceships. That makes sense. Anyway, but yeah. Back to the final point, right? About the special relationship. I think it's healthy, right, for Britain to just let this go. You know, the special relationship is very much a sort of post-war comfort blanket, maybe a Cold War comfort blanket, but it's strategically dangerous because it encourages dependency. It stops us being serious about our place in Europe, which is the continent in which we actually motherfucking live, with countries of comparable sizes, with comparable economies. America is way, way bigger than us. We don't matter to America. They're not thinking about us in the same way that people are thinking about each other across Europe, which they genuinely are. And it stops us ever having real sovereignty or independence. You know, I don't want to be tied to the fucking apron strings of America for the rest of time. So, you know, considering America is now effectively a imperialistic sugar daddy who's having a fucking midlife crisis, I just think the time is just like, okay, it's great that we need to keep them on side. But what really matters and what we really have to get through our fucking thick heads is that all things being equal, our special relationship with the US isn't that special. And when it does exist, it's a tyrannical power relationship in which they hold all the cards. Europe is a different matter. I'm not saying that we hold all the cards when we're dealing with Europe. We certainly don't. But at least we've got some. At least we're allowed to sit at the table. At least we're dealt a hand. It's more than I can say for our relationship with America. You know, we need allies. We need regional stability. We need energy independence and sovereignty, real sovereignty, where we're not completely beholden to the Strait of Hormuz or whether Vladimir Putin wants to invade yet another of his neighbours because his biggest country in the world is big enough for him. You know, the special relationship isn't dead because Trump killed it. It's been dying for years, and Trump just fucking put it out of its misery, essentially. And honestly, good. You know what? Because give me an uncomfortable truth any day over a comforting lie. Kind of sick of these bloody, comforting lies that we get told. It's fine. America will catch us. It's fine. We can tell our closest neighbours to fuck off, and we don't want to buy anything off them. We don't want to sell anything to them. We're not going to let their students come here. We don't want their tourism. We don't want any of that. We're gonna just put all our chips on America. See how that worked out. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching so far. I'm going to just quickly do the old financial pages, the Financial Times, the newspapers. Sorry, the papers. They're not news. They're just papers. Sorry, I'm trying to get things to work. I'm having difficulties with my mouse, as Jerry Cat once said. I'll come back to the Financial Times after I've gone through all the others. But face facts, op can't turn you into an AI pick. What? People seeking cosmetic procedures using AI-generated images of how they want to look are unrealistic, a doc has warned. Okay, now that's a very special relationship. I don't want to go off on a tangent about plastic surgery, but again, while I understand that people find it affirming to get these particular procedures done, right? And I'm not knocking that, but I do think that we need to have more mental health support for people who are planning to go down that route. And I find it really, really obnoxious that to have an abortion in America, you've got to see like 3 doctors and a high court judge. To have gender affirming care in this country, you have to jump through all kinds of fucking hoops. You've got to be diagnosed with gender dysphoria, so you got to be told there's something wrong with you when there isn't. It's just that you're trans. There's nothing wrong with being trans. You've got to see all these doctors. You've got to jump all through these hoops, and they're trying to make those hoops even more difficult. Okay, can we have the same sort of thing going on for plastic surgery? You want plastic surgery? Okay. Can you get a little bit of counselling first? Can we go to the doctors and make sure you're all right? Because I genuinely believe that a lot of people who look in the mirror and hate what they see, I think it's a psychological problem that's not going to be cured necessarily by a nose job. I mean, it might be. I'm not saying that we should ban plastic surgery. I do not think that at all. But I think that it is a sign that if you're not comfortable in your own skin, then there's something amiss. There is something wrong. And yeah, maybe you'll go through a bit of counseling, and at the end of it, you're like, right, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. But I think that the lack of regulations when it comes to stuff like this is quite worrisome. And I can't stop people getting tattoos. If someone wants to get a tattoo, they can. But if someone wants to get their face tattooed, I don't know. Again, that's a bit of a worry. I genuinely think, but I'd like to know that they're feeling okay. I want to know they're okay before they do it. I don't want to stop them doing it. I just want to know they're okay and they're doing it for the right reasons. Because this is something that's permanent and they won't be able to get rid of. And if they don't like it, they're kind of fucked. To be fair, most cosmetic plastic surgery is private. Yes, I know. But I'm saying even to get plastic surgery, I'm saying to get plastic surgery before you go under the knife. If we are going to have the rule that says if you want gender affirming care, you have to have all this fucking, you got to speak to doctors, you got to get registered, you got to do all these hoops to jump through. Okay, we'll do that for plastic surgery as well. If that's your intent, if you don't want people to make a big mistake that's going to fuck up the rest of their lives, because that's the excuse people make about gender affirming care. Oh no, but if you do that and then they decide they don't want to be trans anymore, then you're going to fuck their life. What 1% of people regret getting gender affirming care? A much bigger percentage regret having bloody knee surgery. George only, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I was skeptical of the UK-US relationship a long time ago, and it's very much annoys me when people compare the UK to the US because they're talking shit. Yeah. Well, I brought up the other day, didn't I, that meme that was going around about if the UK was an American state where we would come like number one for literacy, number one for healthcare, number one for life expectancy, number one for lack of infant death and lack of infant mortality, and it was just number one for like loads and loads of things. Some things it was second, some things it was third. Some, there was one that it was 10th or something, but mostly we're either number one or in the top sort of the top 10 percentile. And then in the last one was GDP per capita, and we were 51st. And it's like, yeah, because there's one billionaire who lives in Mississippi, and that means there's no poor people in Mississippi. Because that's how GDP per capita works. Having ears pinned back changed a good mate's life. Sister-in-law had a facelift and still miserable. Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, Mr. Tisk, like I'm not saying it, and for no point I will say that plastic surgery should be outlawed. But I would like it where before you get the plastic surgery, you have to sit down with somebody and talk about it. A professional, and say, explain why you want it, and they can make sure that you're fine and you're not suffering from something else and using plastic surgery as something that you think is going to cure that problem that you've got, because it won't. And then people get more plastic surgery because once you've gone in once, you've got what's that thing where you sunk cost fallacy? That's it, sunk cost fallacy, where you I had a bit of a go, but it didn't come out quite how I wanted it to. So maybe if I do it again, it'll come out how I want it to. And yeah, and also, so that's really for younger people. For people who have plastic surgery because they're getting older and they've got wrinkles, I think we, as a society, we need to just readjust our expectations of life. If you're approaching 50, you're not going to look 21. It's just the way it is. And you can't force people to embrace getting older, because no one likes getting older. More things ache and things don't work like they used to. But at the same time, we all get older. It's fine. There's such a stigma in society about everyone looking youthful forever. And plastic surgery can work on certain people in certain circumstances, like the example of your friend getting their ears pinned back. But I'll tell you this now, like, plastic surgery does not make people look younger. It makes them look weirder every fucking time. Sorry to say, but yeah. Sorry, the dog came bounding into my room, wanting a play fight. Lol. My ex had her nose done, her teeth corrected because she had no self-confidence. Yeah, Martin, and it works for some people. They get something done, and then they look in the mirror and they're like, "Fuck yeah, I look boss." And I think that's great. I think that's fucking wonderful. And like I say, I don't think it should be outlawed. I don't think it should be banned. I just think that it needs to have a little bit more regulation, because at the moment it's like the fucking Wild West out there, and it's really depressing to read stories of people who went to Turkey to get their teeth done, or went to Brazil to get a butt lift, and it went horribly, horribly wrong. I am very concerned about the fact that women and men as well are getting a toxin, Botox, tox is short for toxin, injected into their face by people who aren't qualified to be doing that kind of shit. And if it goes wrong, it can really fucking go wrong. But yeah, I'm sure that if you get a chance to talk about it, there will be some people who are like, okay, I need to make some changes in my life, and if they don't work, maybe I will go back to revisiting this idea of getting some plastic surgery. But there'll be people who just sit there and go, yeah, it's exactly what I want, and this is why I want it, and they lay out a pretty good argument, and then at the end of it, hopefully they'll be happy with what they get. We'll do with the mites. The greenhouse won't work. It's growing nicely under a monkey puzzle tree. I love the just random conversations that go on in the chat on this show. It's brilliant. I've had a laser eye surgery. I can now shoot laser beams from my eyes. That's kind of cool. Pete Dencat. So moving on, we're going to the papers. Back to the papers. PM pleads for unity amongst Labour MPs over critical Mandelson vote. Clear Starmer told Labour MPs to stick together and fight together. There you go. We got, I don't want to be part of a dictatorship. Why so many Americans are giving up their citizenship. I don't think it's just that. It's the fact that as long as you're an American citizen, you have to pay tax. You have to make a tax return every year, even if you can earn no money in the States. There we got the king coming off his quite tastefully designed British Airways flight there. Which has it's not gold plated because we're not that tacky. No cameras at Trump's meeting with King. Reeves puts rents freeze on the table as costs rise. King tells Congress on the eye. America and the UK must reconcile. We got King delivers diplomatic masterclass and urges Trump not to abandon NATO. Labour revolt over Starmer's sleaze cover up. 14 MPs side with Tories. And dozens abstain in Mandelson vote. Okay, let's get the facts here. It was 15, and they still won by 112 votes. So this is why Labour should be doing fucking crazy shit right now. They should just be going full tilt. Just go, mate. Pell mell. Straight at the fucking thing that we need to do, which is the Green Revolution, and other things. You're not the special ones. New ambassadors, diplomatic clangor. That was what I was talking about this morning, where our Christian Turner, his name is, our current ambassadors of the US, has made it very clear that the special relationship is not a natural thing. We got a picture of what's his name, gobshite, Morgan McSweeney, saying Mandy's knife through my soul. So apparently when he found out that Mandelson was wrong and it was like a knife through his soul, I mean, was he not paying attention? My mother thought you were cute, Chaz. Orange Man baby Donald Trump stunned the king when he revealed his mum had a crush on Charles when he was young. Can we also remember, right? Don't forget that Trump said in a radio interview with Howard Stern that he would have nailed King Charles's first wife, Princess Diana. He would have nailed her. This is the queen, the mother of our future king, William. Okay, he said he could have nailed the mother of our future king, but only if she had a HIV test first. And Americans wonder why they're hated all over the world. They just wonder. I don't know why they wonder. I don't know why they wonder, but they do wonder. They wonder why. Why? She went away. My little runaway. Labour revolt over Starmer's sleaze cover up there. Just bullshit. Just bullshit in the mail. I mean, it was a small number of MPs. I mean, they've got like 400 fucking MPs or something mad, and 14 of them voted against. Who cares? Doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I just feel like they're making a mountain out of a molehill here, and whatever. Mirror here, moment of peril passed for PM, but the real danger is still to come. Yeah, I doubt he'll be the president. Fucking hell. I doubt he will be in charge in a few years' time. Sorry, I'm just trying to get rid of. I doubt Keir Starmer will still be prime minister in a few years' time. If I can, I can't believe I've got to do another one of these bloody things. Why can't I find the thing I need to find? I need to find the thing. Oh, there it is. Copy. Oh, there we go. There we go. Got two of them. There you go. See, I need to duplicate that. So I had to. Butterface Trump there. Blatant profiteering. Oil giants £2.4 billion war bonus, which is just insane. And King and Trump forge a very special relationship. Labour MPs whipped to clear Starmer, feel complicit in cover-up. Oh, well, never mind. And UAE quits OPEC as war widens rift with Saudi, something that we talked about quite extensively last night in Geoscope. Me and Ollie Bowler Hatman were talking about UAE quitting the OPEC, which could lead to other countries quitting OPEC. And if it gets to a certain point, it could be the end of the oilarchy. The oilarchy. that has run the world for the last 100 fucking years. Okay, moving on. We've got the Daily Express here with a picture of the fucking gobshite there, the Trumpy gobshite. Let's try and just cover his face again. Hate your face, you disgusting fucking face, you fucking ruptured fucking hernia of a face. You are part of Mandelson cover-up, says Kemi Badenoch. Tory leader slams Labour MPs for voting down probe into PM misleading Parliament. And then we've got Starmer offers to bring back Rayner. We've got PM hopes to head off leadership challenge with olive branch to his former deputy. There you go. The breast is history, how big busts fell out of fashion. And how big busts fell out of the bra. And out the Barmy Army topple leader over refuck support. The leader of the Barmy Army turns out to be a big fash. Well, you know, who knew? Who knew, my friends? Who knew? Well, something I do know is that SG is an absolute fucking legend. Thank you so much, SG. That is very kind of you. She's given us a £5 super chat there. Thank you. Charles is 2 years younger than the orange gobshite. So does he get his tendencies from his mum? I don't know. His dad was a racist twat. So yeah, I guess he gets that from his dad. I don't know what he gets from his mum. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's where he gets his obsession with money. Oh, no, that comes from his dad as well. That was the obsession with money, wasn't it? But the good news is, SG, thank you so much for your super chat, because that means I can release the confetti. 3, 2, 1, confetti! That's really cool. That is very cool. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start the goal again, but it's coming to the end of the show. I've got to do pre-MQs in 40 minutes. I need to have some breakfast before I do that and do the thumbnail and stuff. So I'm going to get going in a minute. But if you get one more super chat in before I end the show today, I will do the confetti again, because, you know, you can never have enough confetti. Or drugs. And then at the bottom of the, we've got Starmer offers to bring back Rayner. PM hopes to head off leadership challenge with olive branch to his former deputy. I think that's going to happen anyway. Like I say, I think Starmer's going to stay in for the foreseeable. I think it's going to be once Andy Burnham can actually come in and be the Prime Minister for the run up into the 2029 election. I think that's when it's going to happen. Phil reckons it's going to happen sooner. I think it's going to happen later. We'll see who's right. One of us will be, I'm pretty sure. Neither of us think that Starmer is going to be leading Labour into the next election. Petraeus, Hermer undermined troops. And then we've got Chancellor backs 1 year rent freeze. We've got swearing ban that is threat to freedom of speech. Fuck off. And then we've got UAE to leave OPEC and blow to Saudi Arabia, which I talked about yesterday. There's a new pension. Great. I'm never going to have a pension. Why are you sending me to fucking pensions? Jesus Christ. What, you think I'm going to have a pension? I'm not going to have a pension. Ooh, look at that. Martin Harrow, £2 super chat. Look, that is a very cheap confetti, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. 3, 2, 1, confetti! Okay, back to the papers. Oh, and Diz is getting on the confetti high as well, because we love Diz. Okay, well, we'll do it again then. 3, 2, 1, confetti! We love a bit of confetti. Goal achieved. Excellent. Good stuff. Keep it coming. So from now on, anyone who drops a super chat in is getting automatic confetti. But I do need to go through the Financial Times, and I do need to wrap up in the next few minutes, because I do need to go and have some breakfast. That's not to say you shouldn't give a super chat. If you want to keep this channel alive, or you want to keep me alive. I do need to buy food. A rearmed Germany stirs France's demons. Iran has every incentive to keep war going. US special relationship is probably Israel, says Envoy in leaked remarks. He was talking to a group of sixth formers, and he didn't think that they would film him and put it on the internet, but they did, because that's what they do. UK ambassador caught off guard, surprise at impunity over Epstein, discomfort for visiting king. I'm sorry, but he's right. He's right. There's a special relationship at the moment. Oh, fuck, I pressed open instead of close. There's a special relationship at the moment. It is almost certainly with Israel. It's not with the UK. OPEC dealt blow as frustration with oil export quotas drives UAE to exit cartel. Yes. And then we've got John Lewis's landlords feel left out by click and collect. A turnover rent clause in his 1979 lease means John Lewis must pay landlords extra on his annual base rent once his Brent Cross stores taking rise above set levels. or rise above sea levels. No, it says set levels. Starmer heads off probe over Mandelson scandal. I mentioned that. BP windfall tax pushback. Windfall taxes will be highly flawed response, says BP. Yeah, okay, right. We don't want to pay extra money. Paramount ownership to filing has shown that foreign investors will own almost half of the media company once it swallows Warner Brothers Discovery. So that's HBO and Warner Brothers, Harry Potter, and all that lot. All going to be owned by people who aren't American. Rent freeze ruled. Well, most of them, not all of it, the majority. Rent freeze ruled out. Ministers have sought to quash predictions of a further shake-up for landlords, ruling out a 1-year rent freeze after remarks from Chancellor Rachel Reeves set off speculation, which is a bit shit because I do think we should have a rent freeze. China to export jet fuel. We got that there. The country's big state oil groups have applied for export permits to resume shipments of jet fuel. Bank of Japan holds rates. The central bank has kept benchmark interest rates steady despite forecasting a sharp rise in inflation. And then Maloney slams medical bill. The Italian Premier has hit out at Switzerland's ignoble decision to seek tens of thousands of euros from Rome for the emergency treatment of the survivors of New Year's Eve nightclub fire. So a bit of sibling squabbles going on there in the Alps. Okay, so our sycamores look the same now as it did in the 1970s, so it must be ancient. I love a good sycamore. I never thought that I'd hate a tree because I love trees. But there was a hawthorn in our back garden. And I cut it down like 17 times. Every time I cut it down, I bloody cut my fingers on the bloody thorns on the damn thing. So I've decided there are trees that I hate. They're called hawthorns and they're made of iron. They're impossible to get rid of. And they just keep regrowing. They don't stop. You just can't get rid of them. No matter how hard you try. Anyway, right. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back in 35 minutes time for PMQs, which should be a spicy one. After yesterday's antics, it should be spicy, so please join me for the spicy PMQs. Check Guardian for latest Farage story. Thank you so much to Mr. Tisk27. That is very kind of you. We have breaking news. Oh my giddy aunt. Sorry, the papers have disappeared. Let me get the front page back up. Oh, hang on. Right, I'm not going to tell you what it is until you actually get to see it, because obviously Mr. Tisk paid good money for this. Here we go. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Oh, shit. Sorry. No. Don't want to support the Guardian. Piss off, Guardian. Making me support you. My keyboard isn't bloody working, is it? So I have to do it the old-fashioned way. Here we go. Revealed. Nigel Farage was given undisclosed $5 million by crypto billionaire in 2024. OMG. The fuck leader changed his mind about standing as MP after gift from Christopher Holborn, who makes all of his money by laundering money out of Russia, which is currently murdering European men, women, and children. So there you go. Nigel Farage was given £5 million by the crypto billionaire Christopher Holborn shortly before announcing he was standing in the 2024 British general election. Wow. Wow. Bloody hell. £5 million from a crypto billionaire who lives in Thailand. Confetti! I did say that I would do this. Had any more super chats. So thanks very much to Mr. Tisk for telling us about that. Oh my God. What a piece of shit. What an absolute piece of shit. £5 million from a foreign billionaire, or at least a billionaire who lives in another country. I bet he didn't pay taxes on that either. Nah, it would have been a loan. Didn't have to pay tax on it. Unbelievable. Anyway, listen, I'll see you in 33 minutes time for PMQs. If I don't, please join me and Rach at 6 o'clock for the rabbit hole. We are going to jump down it together for the first time since February, and it'll be really great to see Rachel back on the show. Very exciting. And back on the channel. Now it's called Hughes of the World. It never used to be called Hughes of the World. when she left, it was, well, she was last here. It was called Politics Social or something. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. Anyway, 6 o'clock tonight, 6 till 7. Please come join us for that. Otherwise, I'll see you in about 32 minutes time. And until then, thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.